welcome. I'm Mira Berry, happiness coach and your host of Happy and Healthy, where we explore all the many ways of keeping you feeling happy and healthy. And today we're going to explore some opportunities for girls in our area to help them feel more empowered and maybe even become leaders. So please welcome my guest today, Shannon Babe-Thomas. So thank you so much for coming today. You're the Executive Director of Community Bridges, right?
That's right, yes.
So tell me a little bit about what inspired you to work with young girls.
Well, after college, I graduated and I saw that there was a job open with Girl Scouts. And I was a Girl Scout growing up, so I'm like, I could do that. So I worked for Girl Scouts Nation's Capital for 14 years. And I knew I was ready for that next step in my career, but I only wanted to go somewhere where I believed in the mission. And I believe in girl leadership, and I believe in giving girls the opportunity to grow and be tomorrow's leaders. So the opportunity arose, and I became the Executive Director in June of 2016.
Wow, and how long has this organization been around, Community Bridges?
So Community Bridges started in 1997. The founder, Naomi Nim, saw that there was an influx to the immigrant population here in Silver Spring and really wanted to figure out a way to help children to get involved in their community and to really be tomorrow's leaders. So Community Bridges was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's for girls of a certain age group, right?
Correct, yeah. So Community Bridges is for girls in grades 4 through 12. When we started 20 years ago, we actually started with just middle school girls, but we really quickly learned that we need to start with girls before middle school to help with that transition in 6th grade, and then to continue with them until 12th grade and help with transition not only into high school, but then transition beyond high school.
And so what is unique about this age group, and why did you select to work with this age group?
What's unique about girls in general, just from anywhere from elementary to high school, is they're really vulnerable and ready to learn about what their next steps are. So as community leaders, we can really help girls develop those skills to be leaders, engagement in their community, and figure out how we can better make them tomorrow's leaders and involvement in the community. So we really want to work with not only 4th through 12th grade because it's a 9-year continuum. The longer you can work with a youth, the longer you can work with a girl, the greater outcome you're going to have.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And how do you identify which girls you want to work with? Because I imagine, can a girl just say, I want to be part of it, or what makes them prime for the plucking for this to get help?
Well, of course, any girl that says, I want to be part of Community Bridges, and if we're in their school, we want that girl to be part of it. But we really work with our community leaders and the school organizers, administrators, guidance counselors, and principals to identify the girls that have the greatest need. Over 90% of our families have an annual income of $45,000 or less, which we know here in Montgomery County is really hard to live on an annual income of $45,000 or less. So those are girls who are not taking dance lessons, who are not necessarily playing soccer. So we want to give the opportunity for those girls to really explore all the opportunities that are out there to get involved.
And can you give me an example of maybe one of these girls?
Yeah. So a girl I recently met that joined our program. So while we want to work with them for 9 years, we'll take a girl at any point where the guidance counselor says, I see a lot of potential in this girl and I really want her to grow and flourish. So I think she can do that in Community Bridges. So we had a girl recently join us in 11th grade, and the first time I met her, she said, when I graduate from high school, what I'm going to be? I'm like, no, what are you going to be? I'm going to be a stripper. And I said, okay, I want to address that later. So let's figure out why and where that's coming from. So as soon as program was over, I pulled her aside and I said, do you really want to be a stripper when you get older? She's like, I just know that I need to make money, and I know that that's a great way to make money, but it's not really what I want to do. I need to pay the bills. I said, okay, well, we're looking at you. You have nice nails, nice hair, nice makeup. I think, do you like to do that? She's like, well, yeah, can I do that for a career? I'm like, you can. So I took her to the Temple, the Paul Mitchell School up in Frederick, let her see the school. She's like, wow, I could come here. I could really do this. I'm like, yeah, you could. She's like, but maybe I could also be an entertainment lawyer. I could really do anything.
Wow.
So what I identify is when a girl doesn't recognize in herself the self-worth that she has, if we can help her find that and also help her find the potentials of opportunities are out there, she's going to get involved and she's going to seek the best self that she can possibly be.
Yeah. And so like a lot of these girls, if you identified like one of the obstacles as far as maybe being successful in their life and their career, maybe just not knowing, but there are other obstacles that you see often?
Yeah, not knowing. Financial is a huge obstacle. If you think that your family can't afford to send you to college or afford you the opportunities that you want, you might make the assumption that, yes, I've got to start working right out of high school, or I'm not going to go look at college because I don't really truly think it's a real opportunity. So we find is 100% of our girls not only graduate from high school, they're also going on to college. And part of that is we start working in high school to identify what classes are you taking, are you taking AP courses? Have you looked at colleges and taking them on tours and making sure that they understand they can fill out financial aid applications and that college is a real option for us. So not only are they graduating from high school and going on to college, many of them are going on to college with full rides.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're making such an impact on not just them, but their family and their community. So, what? Let's say you're not involved in a particular school. That a girl who might be watching the show, maybe you can give some tips or tools that they can utilize.
Yeah, I think girls, the first thing that they really need to understand is their self-worth and understanding that they are worthy and that they do have a lot to offer. So I say to girls, start journaling and really figure out what is it that you really like about yourself and what is it that maybe you don't. And identify why is it that you don't. And what are tools to help you to figure out how you can have more on that you like about yourself than not. Self-esteem is the next piece. The more that you can be happy about yourself, the more that you're going to be successful. And I think what any girl that can recognize that in society we sometimes put things out there that hinder girls from having high self-esteem.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so our girls at Springbrook actually identified that there's this ad Victoria's Secret put out, and it said, everybody for everybody. Now you looked at this ad, every woman had the same hair length, the same body type, they looked exactly the same.
So it's not really everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. So our girls were like, what can we do to really change and flip that image to be the positive? So they took what the image looked like, took the girls in the program, lined them up against the lockers exactly the same way, and made a new image and said, this is what everybody for everybody truly looks like, and they hung it around their school. Then they wanted to take it a step further. So they looked at Vogue magazine and saw ads that were portraying women in a negative light and flipped it to the positive. So they had half of the image being the original image and the other half being the positive image that they created and hung them around their school.
Oh,
so really
nice.
saying that we as leaders can help show girls that what we're showing in media is not the true perception of what women should be looking at, and how can we flip that to be positive. So I encourage all girls to really look at that. If they can say to somebody that that's not really how we should be portraying women, and they can make a change, then it's going to help impact women for all around.
Yeah. So what other tips can you share?
Getting involved in their community. So while Community Bridges, I would love to take every girl, we're not in every school, but there are organizations in every school that girls can become part of. If you get more engaged in your school, more engaged in your community, you're going to feel more connected, you're going to become a natural leader, and you're going to feel like, I want to do more for my community. So I really encourage all girls, even if it's one club, one after-school activity, get involved, and you're going to love what you do.
Yeah. Like for instance, even the Girl Scouts, or there's so many organizations.
Yeah, Girl Scouts, or even try a sport. It might not be your thing, but try soccer, try running, try drama, try doing one of the musicals. Just try something in your school, because that's beyond the schoolwork. It's like another thing, and you can put it on your college application. You can put it on your resumes for employment. It's really just a great way to get involved.
Yeah, and to really think about what are you really passionate about, what really makes you happy, and maybe be part of a drama club or sports, or there's so many opportunities nowadays. It's just really looking it up and finding it on the internet. There's a lot of information out there. So those are really good tips that that a girl could use. And I think as part of being part of this group, that they probably make a lot of friends, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And friends that think the same way, which is really great also.
Well, what's unique is that we find our girls are very diverse. They really represent Montgomery County. So we have about 60% Latina, 30% African, and the girls are coming together and they're saying these are girls that I would naturally be friends with outside of the group. Yeah. So they have their cliques outside of Community Bridges, but then they come together and everybody is a family. Everybody's getting to know one another and everybody's sharing and learning. And I think that that's for any organization. When you come together and you find that you're passionate about being involved in your community, or you're passionate about figuring out your future, you find that it brings all different types of people together, and you become friends with people that you wouldn't necessarily be friends with if you weren't part of that group.
Yeah. So do you know of some girls that maybe not would have been naturally friends, but have come together and have stayed together through the years?
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of our girls that's getting ready to graduate, when she first started, she said, she was unhappy that her parents moved here from Ethiopia. She didn't want to be here in America and didn't really want to be going to American school, and really didn't want to make friends. but came into this group and was hesitant at first and said, I'm not really sure, then she not only met all these other girls she became friends with, she became a natural leader, and she was the president of Community Bridges. So not only did she have these friends, she was leading them and helping them to figure out what they were going to do the next year.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. And could you give examples of some of the experiences that the actual program that you use?
Yeah. So one of our months, we spend a lot of time on looking at cultural identity. So I said we bring girls from all different cultures together. So it's really having that pride in your own individual culture, but then also sharing with others what they do in their countries or do in their culture to really appreciate one another and bridging those divide, so you take away the divide that naturally happens in society and bring them all together to be one. So that's really great. And they're like, oh, I had no idea that your family does that or that you eat that at the holidays. So really learning from one another has been great. And we try to do at least one college tour a month so that the girls are able to go see colleges and also see within that, do I see my culture in that college? And if I don't, is there a way that I can make that change? Is there a way I can get involved and make that happen? And we did that in January. We took a group of girls to Princeton. And when they got to Princeton, they're like, okay, I don't see myself here. I don't see the diversity here that I'd like to see. But I could go here and I could make that change. I could change the makeup of the university, which is hard to do, but it's great to see that the girls really have that mindset that now that I feel comfortable in this group of girls and comfortable with other cultures, how can I get out there and make that change?
Yeah, so they could actually be the change, and they may never have even thought about going on a college tour.
Right.
Yeah, so I want to hear more about what programs that you offer and what experiences the girls have and what the end results are.
Yeah.
So we're just going to take a short break.
Okay.
I'm Nira Berry, your host of Happy and Healthy, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Nira Berry, your host of Happy and Healthy, and we're going to continue speaking about all the different opportunities for girls, teenage girls, middle school girls that can really empower them. And so let's continue speaking with Shannon Babe-Thomas. So we were talking about some of the programs that are available and also, what are how the girls can actually experience learning and growing.
Yeah.
So can you give me another example?
Yeah, so within our elementary school program, we really started about what does it mean to be healthy. And that's healthy eating, healthy exercise, healthy mind, healthy body, every aspect. So the one thing that my elementary school program manager really wanted to start with is healthy eating. I'm thinking about our girls love those chips, they love cookies, they love everything that's not good for them. So how can we help them to explore salads and fruits and things that are really good for them? So she partnered with Sweet Green. The girls went in and they learned how to make these yummy salads that did involve kale, but also involved apples and pecans. And after that, the girls kept asking, they're like, can I have some kale? Can I have some other things that are really healthy?
They may not have been exposed to before.
Right.
Yeah.
And that it can be affordable. So really getting our girls to think beyond the cookies and the chips and how can you really be healthy. And when you eat healthy and you feel good, then your mind feels good and you really are more engaged in your schoolwork and more engaged in your community. So the more we can get our girls to really think beyond the chips and the cookies, the better.
Yeah, I mean, it's been scientifically shown that, to help kids, even with kids that have really a lot of attention deficit and that staying away from sugar or caffeinated items, a lot of times they drink Coke or something, that can really, have a negative influence on their studies and paying attention in class, and they may feel more jumpy and not focus or concentrate. So yeah, that's actually a very important part of being able to be successful.
Right.
So that's great that you do that. And have you seen some of the girls really change their eating? Have you seen them like when they bring snacks?
Yeah. So they asked us for more healthy snacks.
Yeah.
Because we provide the girls snacks after school each day.
Oh, you do?
We do.
Oh.
So the one thing we did just recently, we brought some apples and some fruit in, and we also brought Nutella. So they were able to dip the fruit in the Nutella, and they were like, "Can we have this every week? This is so good." So you had a little bit of sweet, but also with the fruit, and the girls really enjoyed it.
And so I know like that leadership and really fostering leadership is really important. And there are some specific programs or hints that or tips that you can give as far as fostering leadership in girls?
Yeah. So to be a leader, you have to be engaged in your community. You have to be passionate about something.
Yeah.
So we help to try to find our girls, what is it that they're passionate about? What kind of change do they want to see?
Yeah.
And so to use a great example of where we've really fostered and developed our leaders this year at Blair High School, as the girls saw through the whole Me Too campaign that the things that boys were saying in the hallways, the things they were hearing were very negative and not good. So they tried to document things that they've heard, either walking home from school, walking in their neighborhood, and really how can they make that change. So they've been working on a video that'll go out to the public to say, this is the things that the girls are hearing at school, and this is how we want to make that change. And then
it really puts their antenna up.
Yeah. And also talking to the boys about it. So not only can the girls be the leaders of the change and say, here's what we're hearing, here's what we want to change, but if you get the boys involved, then they can be leaders within their own boy part of the school and say, hey, this isn't cool. I'm going to stand up and say you shouldn't say that to one of the girls, and really be that advocacy of change. So we try to find our girls, what are you passionate about? And that could be anything. And that for any girl listening, what are you passionate about and how can you make that change? That's really what makes a great leader, is having the passion behind it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of different, things that people are passionate about. Like you said, like the one girl was passionate about hair and makeup. Have you had any unusual passions, or what's the most common thing that people are excited about?
There's not a common thing, but I think it's identifying each girl what they're passionate about. So one of our alumni, she was really passionate about art and trying to figure out what I want to do for a living, where do I want to go to school, what do I want to study, and she's studying art at Montgomery College, and it was helping her to identify that passion can be a pathway to a career, and that is something you can study in school. So it can be anything, but for us, we want to work one-on-one and help identify those passions. And that's actually where we really rely on our mentors too. So we have a mentoring program where we pair women one-on-one with our girls, and we have them identify 3 goals that they're going to achieve within the year with their mentee. 1 personal goal, 1 career ambition goal, and 1 scholastic goal.
Wow.
So we want those mentors to help identify those passions and help pull it out and help them figure out how they can be more involved in the community. And while we have a mentoring program, I know a lot of organizations have mentoring programs. And I would say for any women listening today, that's one great way to get involved, is become a mentor. Anybody can be a mentor. And I would assure that anybody getting involved, that you're going to get just as much out of the relationship as the girl's going to get out of the relationship. Or for any men listening, that the boy's going to get out of the relationship. Any adult can really help lift up and help the child find their passions and get involved.
So they don't have to be like a executive director of a company or something. Like give me examples of some mentors, like what they do, or...
So we do have lawyers that are mentors, but we also have retirees. We have a graphic designer. We have a photographer. We have anybody that really just wants to get involved, and we'll pair them.
You do? That's what I was going to ask you. If you do actually pair them up with like similar likes or interests.
Yeah. The pairing process is quite long. So my mentoring program manager not only knows the girls, but also gets to know the mentor really well over a course of about a month and a half, and then they get paired. So you want to make sure that the relationship is going to be good on both parts, so they're both going to get something out of it, that the mentee is going to learn from potentially their career or their life experiences, or maybe even where they went to school, whereas the mentor is going to also learn from the girl, whether that be her family, her culture, her background, but that we hope that they both walk away with a really great experience.
Wow, and they start this like in middle school?
Yeah,
like, that's amazing.
We started with our 8th graders, and I'll share a story of a really successful relationship. We generally see that it takes at least a year to become really close. But we have this mentor and mentee that became close so quick, and I think it's because the pairing was done so well. So the mentee, her family's Ethiopian, and right from the beginning, she invited her mentor in and had an entire dinner with her family, and a traditional Ethiopian meal.
So they could understand the culture and where she's coming from.
And they bonded so instantly.
Great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. So how often do the mentors work with these girls? Is it like once a week? And do they have to make a commitment for like, so many years, or? Yeah.
So we do ask our mentors make at least a year-long commitment, but the time that they're meeting with their girl really is part of that relationship. It's their contract with one another. Is it that we're going to meet once a week, or is it that we're going to meet once a month, but we're going to text or talk on the phone once a week? So they kind of decide what is best for the relationship. We as an organization offer once a month activities that the mentor and mentee can come together. So we invite the space. They can also interact with other mentors and other mentees. We did like a sip and paint with sparkling juice and painting. We've done a tour.
Fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. So we
really
give that
stuff.
opportunity for them to really bond and have fun with one another. And then outside of that, we give them a mentoring guidebook, and it gives them opportunities to say, okay, you could go to this museum, or you could take them here, or you could just have coffee and talk about this issue that's maybe coming up in the girl's life.
Wow, what a fulfilling thing, I would think, for the mentors to really see a girl blossom and be successful. And I imagine like it could be a lifelong relationship that is just really amazing.
I can assure you it's a lifelong relationship. So we've had several girls go on to college, and their mentors are still very much involved in their life. So while that traditional mentoring relationship has ended, they're going to be part of each other's lives forever.
Yeah, I bet. And so so tell me more about if you do any follow-up, like what happens if they've gone through all this and they've utilized all the your programs and tools and mentors. What kind of follow-up do you do to see if it really works?
Yes, we do a yearly survey, but we also have a private Facebook group for all of our alum, so they can post, ask questions, talk with one another. So we are checking in periodically. Officially, it's about once a year, but our girls are doing really, really well. Since we started our college and career planning program 4 years ago, all of our girls are still in college or have graduated or have gotten their certificates from their programs and are doing really well. Some of our original girls from 20 years ago are now working in the community, working for other nonprofits, are coming back and volunteering, are mentors in our organization. So really our girls are doing great things, and it shows that the more you can be involved in a girl's life, whether it be 9 years or even just a short 4 years, the greater change that's going to happen, and the greater the connection that they're going to have from where that relationship started.
Yeah, and I bet you there are like all different types of careers and different things, or like some of them well known, or have they made a difference? I know like they volunteer and give back. Have they, that you said that they've graduated college and they're working.
We've got some that are nurses, techs, working in nonprofits in the after-school program. So they really identified with where they came from and are going back and doing that same thing. Yeah. So two of our staff actually started off as interns and then became staff. So I feel like once you get started in a mission that you really believe in, you stay connected.
So it's not just having them go to college, but just being successful in feeling the self-confidence and that they have, and they are offered these opportunities that they can take them if they choose.
Right. That's the key, is self-confidence. And our ultimate community goal is to end the cycle of poverty, so that we know if we can lift our girls up to have a successful career, whatever that might be, that they're going to ultimately come back and help their families and help the community and ultimately, hopefully, end that cycle of poverty in Montgomery County.
Wow, well that's a beautiful goal to have. And I would imagine that this is something that, for any parents that are watching, that this is something that they should really think about for their girls, right? Right. So if somebody wanted just to find out more information, would you mind giving out your website information?
Yeah. So it's www.communitybridges-md.org.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And if you could give just like one pearl of wisdom to these girls or even their parents, like what would that one bit of like really important advice be?
Whether it be the girl or the parents, is to get involved in the community. One way, that involvement in meeting others is going to help you feel more engaged and more empowered to make change.
Wow. So they will really be part of the amazing community. And I'm sure you've seen such amazing growth, and it's really wonderful. So I thank you so much for coming in today and sharing with us and our community, all the different things that we can empower ourselves with and lead more fulfilled lives, right? Yeah. So
thank you for having me. This is a great opportunity to share what we're doing with the community.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Shannon Babe-Thomas of Community Bridges. I'm Nira Berry. I'm your host of Happy and Healthy. And stay tuned. We've got another segment coming up of What's Good to Know. So come right back.
got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
Hi, welcome. I'm Nira Berry, life and happiness coach, and your host of Happy and Healthy. And now it's time for What's Good to Know. And as part of my series on success at work and in life and in our personal relationships and work relationships, I want to speak to you about personal empowerment. And this term may conjure up a lot of different internal feelings. Sometimes people feel a little scared by that, and sometimes people may say it's really fleeting, or sometimes people may actually feel that way. And I want to let you know that often the term is misrepresented or misunderstood, because by the definition of personal empowerment, it really means that we can influence change for our success or influence behavior of people around us and maybe even our community and just as citizens in the world. And so what is personal empowerment? Generally people feel like it's a feeling, it's a sense of feeling empowered. But really what the new model of personal empowerment nowadays is really being able to see the effect of what we really want in our lives, being able to influence change and see the positive results as a result of what we take action to do. So really it's not just our feeling of feeling empowered, of being personally empowered, but actually seeing our influence and making the positives change and really seeing successful results. And often there might be success and failures, and the success will make you feel like, wow, I can really do things. But really, to feel successful, you'll want to be able to see that there's actual change towards what you want. And failures might even hamper us in the road to feeling successful and may even make us feel like, oh, we don't even want to try. So one of the ways that you can really be more, feel more personally empowered, believe it or not, is using your voice, and your voice by complaining. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be one of these whiny people. And because of that, the studies have shown that people 95% of the time won't actually complain, that they will actually just hold it in because, number one, they don't want to make the person dislike them, they don't want to make the situation worse, and often they feel like, well, they better just leave well enough alone. But if you do it in the proper way, then you can actually affect the change that you want and really feel personally empowered and also powerful. And one of the ways that you can do this is really to build it up slowly, like start slow, and to really identify your goals. And one of the ways you can do this is through working with a life coach, a happiness coach, and really identify your goals and how you're going to achieve them, what obstacles you might come across, and make them really set attainable goals, realistic goals. And the life coach will also hold you accountable, so make sure you're on your path of really reaching your goals, of living a more successful life, a more fulfilled life. So let me know how that's working out for you. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact me, the Happiness Coach, at happyandhealthy@mmctv.org. And really, I'm happy to hear any comments. I'm Nira Berry, the Happiness Coach, and I'm the host of Happy and Healthy. So have a great day.